Good day, everyone. Today, I'm reposting this ACT and Exponents video. I do apologize that last night, or the night before last, as I was trying to post this video, we didn't get to everybody because it was so low, and you had to have this on full blast just to hear me. So, my deepest apologies on that one. So that's why I'm redoing this video. In this lesson, and we're going to discuss the categories of ACT, and then we're going to talk about law of exponents, rational exponents. So announcements, reminders, and the T. So I already told you guys by January 30th, ANET needed to be done. That's already been talked about. So if you didn't turn it in, you are in a disadvantaged situation. Avoid academic dishonesty. So I'm looking through the ANET stuff. You didn't cheat, you be alright. And I'm gonna tell because there's gonna be 3 questions. It's gonna be a dead giveaway for me. Alright, we did our ACT testing yesterday and today. Phones, of course, are part of your grades. Continue to put phones up throughout the time I am teaching. Submit silent phones when the bell rings. Follow mathematical standards and principles. Alright, tutoring. I know tutoring has been a hassle to everybody, and I'm struggling a little bit with it too, the new situation. So they want us to do tutoring from 2:40 to 5 o'clock in person, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's what they want us to do. And they want us to do it in person. They will feed you, and there's going to be buses to take you places. Assignments, there will be time, particularly the Kahoot and everything else. Cause I got to see how fast you move because ACT, you got to move a certain speed. Mathematical policies, y'all can just continue being nice, respect the calculators, be compliant, work independently without a teacher when I ask you to. So if I'm telling you to do something by yourself, that's for you to do by yourself. Because you're not going to ever master mathematics every time you're trying to do something by yourself. You keep asking me for help. I won't do it. I need for you to figure things out. I'm not going to answer your question if you're right or wrong or anything like that. You got to try it. Working with your peers. And I could also, during that time, again, not give you answers, nothing like that. I could agree with your work or disagree or point you in the right direction. Now, when I go over it, which that's the part that I'm going to do, I'll go over with you and we can ask questions and all this, all that. And I will answer all of that. But again, I'm not to give you any information until you are at least working in groups and when I provide some feedback or something like that. Mathematical standards, and this is how I'm grading you guys. Be prepared. Reason abstract and quantitatively, you know, argue when necessary, but be respectful towards each other because this is how you do math. You argue. Don't be sensitive when someone is, saying this is not correct because X, Y, Z, and the third. Don't feel that sense of aggressiveness. So just stay on your ground and just answer questions. Be confident in making mistakes because math spells mistakes allow thinking to happen. Okay? True mathematicians never get it right the first time. Rarely will they get it right. Even if you are mathematical talented, you're still not going to get it right. All right? The only time that you got to worry about getting it right is test and quiz. So that's the time you got to worry about getting things right. All right, shout out to the top mathematicians. 4A is doing fabulous in my class. They doing everything I need for them to do in a good amount. 7B, they so close, and they doing exceptionally well too. ACT topics. These are the topics that are going to be on your ACT, but you gotta pay attention to the detail of it. Okay, so the ACT math session It's designed to assess your mathematical skills students have typically acquired in courses taken from the fifth grade up to the beginning of 12th grade. So there's going to be some courses on the ACT that even I'm not going to be able to talk to you about because that's something that you take your senior year. All right. The ACT is breaking up by two categories. They're not going to be an independent session one or two. They're going to be in two categories. So one's going to be just the skills that you've been taught, and then the other stuff is going to be the integral essential skills. And these, I'm afraid, are going to be those lengthy word problems that you kids don't like. All right, number and quantity. So basically, all the stuff that deals with the number types, like complex word, imaginary, adding fractions, absolute value, even rational exponents and exponents itself. All of that is that first part of the ACT. So I just want to share that with you guys. That's what's going to be there. Now, this stuff I highlighted in yellow, that's the stuff that's going to be more your senior year of math. Hear me? Your senior year of mathematics. All right? So I will be covering all those other topics, but the vector matrices. Okay, the algebra stuff, simple matrices, that's still your senior math. Linear equations, quadratics, all those types of equations. And we're just going to go ahead and just figure those things out. So basically, algebra 1 and algebra 2 combined. Well, more algebra 1. This functions is algebra 2. So, determining which is a function, applications of functions, then with all types of linear, piecewise polynomials, logarithmics, and you're going to learn how to transfer graphs. So that's going to be there. Geometry. Everything that you have learned during your grade level years, so volume, surface area, area, congruence, similarities of triangles and circles, composition of objects, missing values, knowing your triangle, your trig ratios. I taught you that. So yes, that's going to be there. Statistics and probability. This is something that most teachers don't talk about, but I promise you, we're going to talk a lot about it. So we're going to be bam, 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 bam. So I need for you guys to come on with it. Modeling is everything that you have done already, but just those word problems that you saw so far. All right, laws of exponents. This is something that you have saw on ACT, and it's easy to learn. All right, so remember, we are multiplying variables with the same variables. You add the exponents. When you are dividing, you're going to subtract. When you are multiplying, when you have a parentheses and exponents, you multiply them. If it's a negative exponent, you rewrite it and put it in the denominator. If it's anything to the power 0, it's 1. And anything to the square root of x is 1/2. Now, I have taught you guys about polynomials. Polynomials have to have a positive exponent that is 0 and above. And we know that polynomials cannot be a half an exponent. Or they can. Well, they can actually, but we prefer whole numbers. So when it comes to those radical exponents, earlier in the school year, you have worked with this already. Because when you have a square root, the inverse of this is square. You guys know this from dealing with the Pythagorean theorem. I'm struggling. So a squared plus b squared, and I'm doing the best I can with this, equals c squared. And you know, when we get to the end, we take the square root of wherever it is. So that's all this is. So when you see the square root, it becomes a half power. When you see a square root with 3 on top, it's a third power. So with those exponents, you can't add them together. Well, you just rewrite them. So again, like this third, here you go in the front. This fourth, put the 4 in the front, and etc. etc. So that's all you have to do. But keep in mind, when we're dealing with fractions or rational numbers, we gotta apply the rules of fractions, which is rational numbers. So in class, I will provide you with more detailed examples of how to do these problems. So let's do this one. So here, try this problem on your own. Pause the video and get back with me. Welcome back. I trust that you did do this problem on your own, so let's compare notes. So your first step that you want to do, you want to take care of the parentheses or the operations. So you got these and you use some multiplication, so you got add them. So 2 to the negative 5 power, y to the power of 4, and that's just the operations we did. Now the denominator, because there's nothing there at the moment, we're going to leave it as is. But again, when you are multiplying, you are adding these exponents because you got the same x and y. All right, next step, we're going to take the 3 on the outside and multiply everything by the 3 except the 2. The 2 is going to become 2 to the power of 3. So when that happens, it becomes 8. Again, when you're dealing with exponents, you multiply them together. 3 times negative 5, negative 15. 3 times 4 is 12. And then even in your denominator, you're going to multiply that 3 everywhere. So x cubed, 3 times negative 3, negative 9. Good job. And then from there, you subtract. So when you subtract 15 minus 3, negative 15 minus 3, at 12 minus negative 9, you will get 8 to the power of 21 and 8 to the 18th. Now, this in the denominator, because you got x to the negative 18, because it was negative 18 right here for the x. You put your 18 right there, and that's where that 18 comes from. Because when you add in two negatives, they're going to become negative. However, when you see this right here, you got two negatives, which, of course, you multiply. Two negatives makes a positive, so 12 plus 9 is 21, and that's what we got. All right, let's do this simplistic example. So pause the video and just try it, see what happens. All right, I trust that you tried it. If you didn't do so, please pause and try it. After you finish, click the play value and let's see what happens. So all you're doing is just taking that negative 1/5 and multiplying it by 5. So when you do that, you get 4 to the negative first power and 3 to the negative first power, which we know for a fact these are going to be negative. And this should have been 2 in the denominator. So it's going to be 1 over 12 squared. Because when you multiply exponents, you do add them together. So that's what you get. You could leave it like that, or if you want to, you could do this. Well, no, that's not true. You can't use square root of that because it's not a rational exponent. So never mind me on this. But this is more the correct answer. When I first posted this, I was such in a rush, but this is the correct answer. 1 over the 12 to the power of 2. And that 2 is in the denominator. All right. Now, why don't you try some worksheets in Kahoot?